Welcome to the 3G Fitness Podcast,
where three generations of trainers come together to discuss all things fitness related.
Join us as we share insights, tips, and stories from our diverse experiences as we unravel the secrets of staying fit.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Cisco of the 3Gs. To the middle we have
Michael from the Baby Boomers.
To the left,
Coach KT, Kyle.
We are the three generations of fitness podcast. And today what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be going over the topic of aging and fitness. Okay. When we say aging and fitness, I'm going to throw this to you, Coach Mike. What goes through your mind when I say aging and fitness?
Wow. Getting old.
Getting old.
That's what goes through, aging, because it happens quick. You're 60 before you know it,
Oh God, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Because I go back. I remember when I was your age.
I love it.
And already, look at me, 67.
This is your future.
What happened?
Time.
Yeah.
And you're gonna find it. Time is quicker. It happens quicker than you think.
Well, I always hear it in sports. Father Time is undefeated.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So today we're gonna kind of go over those topics. We do have a very special guest. We do have our very own Baby Boomer to pick his brains on his personal aspects, his personal avenues through fitness to help him get to where he's at. Because even though you are 68 years old, 67, it doesn't matter.
Put more years on me now.
I will always put more years on you. I look at you right now, and I do see that you are walking, you are moving, you are still lifting or anything like that. What was one of the main motivating factors to keep you lifting, to keep you moving at the age of 67?
I gained a passion of fitness at a very early age.
Okay.
Because a lot of people will start working out and then they'll stop. And they'll take a hiatus of 2 or 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I never did that. I continuously worked out because I had a love for fitness. It was you just certain things you just take grasp of, and that was one of them. And I did that at an early age of 14. And I just continued on lifting. But as you get older, you're gonna find out. The time happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you get slower. Your movements get slower. You don't get stronger. You lose your strength.
So has your approach to training changed over the years?
Yeah, it's changed.
How?
Probably in my 20s, I was more hitting that iron, pumping the heavy weight.
Mm-hmm.
In the 20s, I was, benching 405. I was squatting 400, deadlifting over 5, when I was in my 20s. But then when I got in my 30s and stuff, I started to realize, man, this is getting harder. And to bench 405 in my 30s was really hard, to where I couldn't go higher.
Mm-hmm.
And then deadlift was the same way, squat was the same way. Going higher when I got into my 30s was much harder. And then when I got in my 40s, it was even harder.
So what did you change in your training regimen?
I went down in weight. I started doing probably more reps, and not max benching, max deadlifting. I kind of stayed away from that because once I got in my 50s, injuries, they started to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And once you start getting injured as you're getting older, the recovery is much, much harder.
Well, even like I said, when you said you're getting older, as you're getting older by the age of 30, I'm glad that you hinted that in the 30s you said it got harder. I mean, realistically, scientifically proven, once we go into our 30s, we start declining in testosterone. And usually it could be anywhere in your 30s to late 30s. But once you hit that landmark, testosterone starts declining 1% a year.
Yeah.
So that's, one of the main factors of that helps us with recovery, that helps us with energy, that helps us with the muscle growth. So I think that's something to be aware of, that just because scientifically that slows us down doesn't mean that we can't do anything. We need to at least keep that going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got to keep everything moving. You don't move as fast, and you don't lift as much, but the movement and the way your body moves helps.
Motion is lotion.
It's what it is, you know.
No Diddy.
Because
So-
that ROM starts to take effect, which is the range of motion.
Uh-huh.
And so if you can't, as you get older, you're gonna start finding out that your range of motion starts getting limited, as it is, you know, for me.
Yeah.
At 67, my range of motion is not even close to what it was when I was younger.
Oh, for sure. Well, then you go through some things, and then let's just keep going. I like going through your lifespan of fitness. So you were talking about in your 30s and your 40s. Walk us through what happened when you entered your 50s. What happened when you entered that?
Got a stroke,
Oh,
a mini stroke.
ooh, okay.
You know, but that's related to bodybuilding, in a sense. You know,
Can you relate
Yeah,
more
yeah.
on that? Like, what do you mean?
I was during my bodybuilding times, I was using, you know, oral and antibiotic injectable steroids,
Oh, okay.
and it was through a 10-year period. And I went from orals to injectables and stacking my roids, 2 and 3, trying to get bulk, trying to cut up.
So that was when you were doing bodybuilding. How old were
Yeah.
you when you were doing bodybuilding?
I stopped when I was probably I started when I was 22.
22.
22. When I moved out here, I started when I was like 22, 23. And then I went on from there. And probably when I was in my 30s, I had stomach problems and just a lot of things were going wrong with me. So
So at least like 8 years of kind of putting your body through that, right?
yeah,
And
8
then-
years, and I probably did 12 years of bodybuilding, but 8 years of roids.
So your stroke was like
20 years after.
Yeah, it was
as a result of
yeah.
like the long-term
Because
effects of
they tell you that, you know, I was told that, you know, when you do injectables, you're injecting a roid into your system, which saturates into your fats, and it's living in there. It's still, you know, and obviously people know that you can get a heart attack and you can get a stroke if you continuously do that. And they basically told me there's not anything wrong with me that would, you know, cause me to have a stroke, but we do see that your use of steroids could be the cause of that.
So then that's what caused the heart attack or the stroke.
Yeah.
So you got the stroke in your 50s. And so this has been 20 years removed. You got a stroke in your 50s. Obviously, that did some hindering to your workouts. How did you get back into working out after suffering a stroke?
You just love it. You can't. It's like taking something away from you that you love, and you want to go back.
Was the first workout easy? Can you remember that? I know memory's not your
I'm
forte.
trying to go back. I know it was.
I know memory's not your forte.
It was in 24-hour fitness.
All right, but did you feel like
I felt really odd.
really?
I
Okay.
felt uncomfortable, you know, because
like
I
how long
wasn't-
after did you start
I
hitting the weights
wasn't moving.
again?
I wasn't moving well, you know.
But how long? So yeah, so you had the stroke. Did you go like? the
Yeah, how
very
long
next
after did
week?
you
Were
start hitting
already
the weights
working
again?
out?
I was weak. I wasn't strong. I was unbalanced.
So when did you hit the weights? A month after the stroke, 2 months after the stroke, a year after the stroke.
I probably say 2 to 3 months because I started off walking first.
Okay.
Walking in the park. I started doing a light jog and changed my diet. Went vegetarian. Just did a lot of things to try to help me get back.
Damn. So then, see, because I feel like that happens a lot with a lot of people. Like you just said it, you know, some people with time take, you know, a break from working out. And you, it sounds like you were addicted to the gym. You're a different kind of animal. You're not the average person, Mike. So
I'm a gym rat.
You're a gym rat.
gym
So
rat.
it got taken away from you. So it got something like that. But even for you being a gym rat, you said you felt off. You felt a little weird on going back in.
I didn't feel like I felt earlier in my life
Okay.
in the gym. Very uncomfortable, wondering if people were looking at me and the weight I gained and just I just felt uncomfortable. I just felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
So after that happened, what kind of exercises were you focusing on?
a lot of stretching.
A lot of stretching.
A lot of
Okay, like that was a
stretching.
priority.
Yeah, a lot of walking and just things that just hoping that I'd get my mobility back.
Yeah.
And
And you did, right?
I don't have it all back, even though you sit there and told me you don't pick up the feed.
He doesn't.
I wonder why, you know.
The man had a stroke, Kyle. Leave him alone.
Not bad,
He had a
not
stroke.
bad.
You know, like some 15 years
20,
ago.
20 years ago.
My wife
years
is
ago.
my wife is always telling me, pick up your feet. Pick
Exactly.
up your feet. Pick up your
I'll
feet.
tell you to pick up your
And-
feet.
and I-
We'll show you guys how he walks in some
and
clip later on.
And I try to pick up my feet. Okay, running is not something I do well. A light jog I do with my dog sometimes. Or walking fast. Yeah, but I won't run.
Okay.
So then, after the stroke, any other medical conditions or?
Well, dude, I'm a cancer survivor, right?
I see. I forget that
I got
you are.
I got colon cancer in 2019. Okay, that was a big thing. That was something that.
So you just turned like 60 right when you had it, then, right?
What's that?
You were like right about 60 years
Yeah.
old.
Matter of fact, I got the news when I was in the gym.
Oh shit! Wow.
I got a phone call.
Wait. Well, tell him how you found out though, because there was one person that told you to get a colonoscopy, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Let me
you,
guess.
you wouldn't have known if
yeah.
this one person was like,
my doctor said you need to go get a colonoscopy. I'm like, "Oh." She goes, you have blood in your stool. I go, no, everything looks good. She goes, are you sure, Mike? I go, yeah. She goes, you're like in your 60s.
it's like just
You
go,
should-
just
you
in
should
case.
at least go get a colonoscopy. And I was like, and I brushed it off. And that's my thing. I tell people that you have to get a colonoscopy.
So you
Okay.
had no symptoms of anything.
None.
You weren't. So because you recovered from the stroke, you got back into working out, and then you pretty much got yourself as close as you did in peak wise. So you were feeling healthy. You were feeling good.
Yeah.
You were showing no symptoms of that.
Yeah,
And
because
then
I was
you're-
first stage.
Yeah. And then
I got caught in first stage. And they told me, you're 2 centimeters away from your colon. So we have to go in right now. We have to take it out and, work with it from there. You're going to have to go through 5 years of treatment
holy shit.
because we're going to leave the tumor. Tumor is negative. We're going to leave it in. And I went. This is my 5th year in November. Okay, so I'll be able to say, I have survived, cancer. And this is my thing. What I tell people is that a colonoscopy is so important, especially when you're in your 50s and you're in your 60s. You need to detect it quick because if you have a palate in there and you don't, it's going to spread. And my cancer was about 4.5 inches in diameter, kind of like, and they had to figure out how are we going to do this, and I went with the quickest way of recovery. Because the longest way is going through your stomach wall, through your intestines, to your colon, and cut it out. In my case, it was if your tumor is negative, we'll cut the cancer out, and we'll watch the tumor for the next 5 years. Tumor dies out after 5, or cancer does. Excuse me. And so I decided to go that route. When they told me it was negative, they said we have to watch you for the next 5 years. So that's what I've been going through the last 4.5 years now. I go in every twice a month and get ultrasounds and colonoscopies. I think I've had 10 colonoscopies since my cancer.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It said most people should get their first colonoscopy at age 45.
45.
Yeah.
Damn.
You're pretty
And-
close, Cisco. You're pretty close, Cisco.
And people say, "Oh man, I don't want to get a colon," because men, especially men, they
It's
have
the
this.
embarrassment.
It's an embarrassment.
Yeah,
But let me tell you,
their pride.
But
if I wouldn't have went,
damn,
my cancer would have
Yeah,
spread it
exactly.
to my colon.
Yep.
And once it gets to your lymph nodes, that's it.
Lymph nodes.
Lymph nodes. Sorry about
Yep.
that.
I like lymph nodes though.
No,
Give the
lymph
remix.
nodes.
Lymph
Nodes.
nodes.
Get that
Yeah, yeah,
remix in, Mike.
That's,
Don't
No,
worry.
but that's really
that's
good,
the great
though,
thing about having this
that's-
young guy here, man. Every time I make a mistake on something, he's there to correct me.
Whoa.
So
Dictionary.
now looking at you, stroke in your 50s,
Yeah.
cancer in your 60s, and now technically 5 years plus removed, or no, 5 years removed. How you doing right now?
Right now, I'm just waiting for November to find out, hopefully, that I'm good.
Yeah.
And then after that, my surgeon said, you're powerlifting. That's not a good thing. And I said, well, you know what? I go, after I survive cancer, what do you? He goes, well, if I were you, I still wouldn't. But it's something that if that's what you love to do, go ahead and do it. So when November comes, my goal my goal is to, when I get into the 70s, is to compete, for the world record in the 70-year-old.
You want to take records down,
Yes.
right?
That's what I want to do at 70 because
You got 3 years to
well,
you're 70, right? Or like
yeah,
just one?
I got 3 years,
Oh,
2 years,
okay.
2 years really,
2
but
years,
two
yeah.
and a half years. But yeah, I just deadlifted, 425 with no problem. Just playing around.
So, and that's why, I mean, with all that, being said, even your doctor told you that you shouldn't be, lifting as hard, but has your doctor ever given you any feedback on your bone density?
Oh, I had a bone density done, and he said that I have very strong bones. That's what he told me. He goes, all this weightlifting has strengthened your bones because bones are tissue, and when you work out, you strengthen that.
Right.
And
So we got to talk about the importance of working out.
what's that?
We got to talk about that importance of working out in your
Yeah,
whole
it's-
journey.
it's very
and how,
important
it got you to
For
where you at
seniors
now,
to work out,
regardless
to
of going through all that
strengthen
stuff.
their bone density. And trainers, personal trainers know the exercises to use with seniors to
Right.
strengthen. Because I see you working with a guy that's a senior,
Yeah.
and I see some of the exercises you do with them,
Right.
and those are exactly the exercises that seniors need to do.
Yeah.
He gets on
Yeah.
the bench, but he doesn't bench a lot.
Right.
Nope.
But he benches enough to where he's working his bones, as well as some of the other things that the guy's doing. So
Well, it's true because, like I said, I think and now this is the experience that me and Kyle, you can chime in on this. We do have clients that are in that age bracket that are over 50, over age 60.
Yep.
And we definitely do not train them the way we train ourselves,
No.
And I do get most of that client that you're talking about. He came from me because his testosterone levels were down and his bone density was really close to, he was borderline like osteoporosis. So the great thing after 1 year of training, he's all good. Now he's just training because he's enjoying it. But I always tell a lot of people, and this is something that I share with a lot of my female clients, that osteoporosis, which is pretty much the loss of bone density, starts declining at the age of 25 for everybody. It declines faster in women after giving birth. So once a woman goes through giving birth, their bone density starts declining even faster than males. So, and then not just that, women, when they start approaching their 50s, hit menopause. Menopause really makes bone density go down even quicker. So the importance of doing weight-bearing exercise is high. Right. Most of my clients are women. And I think if I were to take the average of my female clients, they're probably between the ages of 45 and up. Majority of them are. So the young ones that I have, I maybe 4 that are under that 45 age group, and the rest are all above that. So I always share it to women, and I don't know what exercises or experience you've had, Kyle, with your clientele or anything like that. I know I see you train a couple of them. Yeah, I see it.
I
Yeah.
see
I have a good amount for sure. Yeah. But in terms of training, because we are talking about like the importance of it, but I do want to talk about like what type of exercises people can focus on too. And all I do really is just like the basic fundamental movement patterns for the elderly, which is like your push, pull, squat, hinge, lunge, and core. That's your six most movements. Basic movements that you can work on, that you guys can Google or maybe hire us as your trainers if you want to learn a little bit more about that. But just keep it basic for most of those people, just get them moving.
And then the other thing I would be able to do is just simple balancing workouts too, which is core related. I always label them too. But I feel like when we say core, a lot of people think we're like just focusing on abs, not realizing that, hey, you are engaging your abs if you're just even simply standing on one foot and doing a movement or anything like that.
I do that.
And I know you do that because balance is important, because I think we were talking a little bit earlier. I mean, we were talking about how if you're not balanced, you're gonna fall. You have several episodes of almost falling, but no one ever catches or sees it or anything like that. But there's a reason you're at higher risk at falling.
Yeah, no.
So work on your balance.
You know me, I fall. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, like who saw that? But what were you saying about, like, isn't there like in a certain age group or something like that, like at like senior homes or something?
Yes, it's a study's been put out that seniors that the rate of seniors falling happens in senior homes. And they said about 60% of the accidents that happen in senior homes. But I actually think that's higher
Because that's just only done in senior homes.
Yeah, in senior homes. Outside the senior home, when someone falls, a lot of times they don't want to get up and say, "Take me to the doctor" or do this. They just get up and they recover in 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. But it happens a lot. I've fallen, around here, just tripping over something or losing my balance. I'm not, even though I work out, I am not unable to, keep my balance every single time, because as you get older, your movements get slower.
Yeah, I get what you're saying now.
Just because I work out doesn't mean that, I'm going to be able to keep my balance and everything and work fast and do everything quick.
You're pretty much saying the
but
same
you can
thing.
train.
Yeah,
you
can train
you
for
can
it. Like
continue
the
to
fact
try.
that you train, you're probably not prone to be losing your balance as, say,
Compared
maybe
to someone who
maybe
doesn't.
a friend of yours who hasn't worked out in the last 40 years, who probably maybe not have the balance that you would. So regardless, like we said earlier, Father Time is always going to be undefeated.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah, we can't go against time, but we can do things to make sure that our journey through these times is getting better. It's injury preventative,
right,
and whatnot. So the strength training exercises that Kyle brought up, I said, repeat those 6 movements again, Kyle.
Your push, pull, squat, hinge, lunge, and core movements is the 6 basic movements that you can focus on for functionality.
You put those into your movement 1 hour a day, 1 hour every other day, and always progress those movements.
Yep.
You will be doing a lot better with time and whatnot. And like I said, there's going to be things that medical stuff will happen. Mike's a walking example. You have a stroke, it's going to hinder you down, doesn't mean it stops you. You have cancer, it's going to hinder you down, doesn't mean it stops you. That's where you guys got to find the inner motivation, the inner beast inside of you. Or
he's a little different.
He's a little different.
He's a gym rat.
But
for those who aren't a gym rat, you just have to know the value of what working out does for you.
Yeah, but
how it can help your.
I'm an old gym rat.
Yes,
he's an old gym rat.
There's a difference between a gym rat.
Yeah, the value is it still improves your quality of life.
So
100%.
So we're all gonna give you guys one quick advice before we sign off. We'll finish off with the boomer. That way it gives him time to gather his thoughts for advice, because I know he needs a little bit more than all of us. But make sure you guys move as much as you can. And don't be afraid from the weights. Don't shy away from weights. Always incorporate those into your daily movements. That way you can just only get better. So please go work out. Find ways. If you don't have access to a gym, find ways to walk.
If you're not confident in the movements and that's very foreign to you, it's very scary, think about getting a personal trainer. That's our job. Our job is to help you get you confident and make sure you're moving properly so you don't get injured.
All I can tell seniors, and please listen to me, I'm a senior, don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed to walk into the gym and ask the trainer to help you along, because they will show you exactly how you have to do things, how you work things. We all get old, okay? But I do believe if you don't sit at home and just watch TV and decline, that's the worst thing you can do. The best thing to do is to go out gardening. If you don't want to go to the gym, walk around, walk your dog, do what you want to do.
Find your own movements.
But go to the gym and have a trainer take you through and show you what to do. I've been working out for such a long time, but believe me, this guy will sit there and tell me at the gym, "Hey, look down," so I don't trip. Or this guy look at me and say, and it is funny, but it's needed.
It's real.
It's needed. It's needed, and we also keep you young.
And I have to move around slowly so I don't bump my head or do something like that.
Yeah.
So just being a senior is not the worst thing.
It's the best thing, man.
It's actually the best thing, because if you stay alive this long, you've been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been through a lot.
And And Mike, thank you for sharing everything,
Yes.
man. I'm glad that we
Preach.
got your personal insight with this topic. You guys got some professional insight with this topic from what we've seen and deal with. But thank you guys for sitting in, listening. My name is Cisco,
My name is Mike.
I'm Coach Kyle.
and we'll catch you on
See
the
you guys
next
later.
episode.
All right, take it easy. Peace.
Long ass outro. Jesus.